Hey guys, and welcome to my new movie review. First of all, thank you so much for clicking on this link. I really appreciate you being here. Seriously, thank you so much. If you'd be so kind, if you're new to my YouTube channel, won't you be so kind and go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And while you're at it, why don't you be so kind and click that bell for notification, guys. That way, anytime I drop anything, it'll be yours straight away. I really appreciate that. And speaking of appreciation, why don't you leave a thumbs up on this movie review while you're at it. Thank you so much. And welcome, seriously, welcome to my new movie review for the 1992 movie, Radio Flyer. Does it snow in California? No, it doesn't rain either. I absolutely loved that line. It's one of the opening lines when you actually see Mikey and Bobby and Mary together in the very, very start of the film. I totally forgot that Tom Hanks was the narrator and this very small character in this movie, guys. Now let's roll that synopsis. A father recounts a dark period of his childhood when he and his little brother lived in the suburbs. Guys, straight off of the bat, one of the things again that I really appreciate about Radio Flyer so much is that it is completely character driven with no CGI at all. This movie is one of the very few movies that, you know, in the caliber of Hollywood movies, The Shawshank Redemption, The Green Mile, and on and on and on, back in those days that were purely character driven. And looking back at it now, just thinking, wow, how film has changed in such a drastic way. Not in a bad way, just so different compared to what it was before. And having no CGI and being so character and storyline driven in a film, it makes the biggest difference. It really does. And it's just so incredible to see where this film goes. This movie holds up, guys, as one of those films where the camera angles and the editing is just outstanding. Truly. This is, in every way, shape, or form, one of my favorite childhood movies that I ever saw. And I just remember the passion, the intense passion that Bobby gave me as a character in this movie, because he was just so focus driven on what he wanted to do, and that was fly. So Tom Hanks's voice is actually the grown-up version of Mikey's voice, but obviously grown up. And it's really fascinating, because when they do the narration with the voice, with Tom Hanks's the voice, every time they do that, I believe it was every single time, they actually had the visual of Mike on the screen, which made the element of the narration, you knew who was talking, and it obviously was the adult version of Mikey, which I thought was really well done. And Joseph Mazzello, who played Bobby in this movie, oh my gosh, what an innocent, beautiful, incredible little actor. Like for real. It is phenomenal to see how just powerful child actor he turned out to be. Like, seriously, what an absolute mind-blowing, incredibly, like, just a star power for such a kid at a young age. Now, also, if he rings a bell, now I just want to point out something really quickly, guys. If Mike and Bobby actually ring a bell, aka Elijah Wood and Joseph Mazzello, that's because Joseph Mazzello is actually the child actor in, yes, that's right, Jurassic Park. Yes, that little kid right there, that's him. And also Mikey is, who everyone knows, Elijah Wood, as one of the most iconic film franchises on the planet, literally, The Lord of the Rings. Yeah, that's exactly what you know him from. How amazing is that? This is these kids as kids, and obviously now they're all grown up men now, which is amazing. Directed by Richard Donner. Yes, the same Richard Donner, the same one who made Superman the movie. How incredible is that? I find that so incredibly fascinating to see where those sorts of directors like Richard Donner, where their film slate, like they brought us this pure iconic movies, and Superman is one of them. Like, come on, it's literally one of the most iconic films on the planet. And then he made this incredible, beautiful, and inspiring, sort of inspiring little movie, Radio Flyer. Lorraine Bracco is so incredibly stunning in this movie. Oh my gosh. So she plays the character Mary, and who is Mike and Bobby's mother and the King's girlfriend, and we'll get to that later. Oh my gosh. Wow. She's so beautiful in this movie. It's like she's one of those actors that just completely wears her heart on her sleeve. It is just incredible to see movies like this with people, with actors like this, with just pure, just gracious beauty. And every single scene in this movie, she just holds her beauty and her grace so stunningly. I loved her voice in this movie, guys. It is so beautiful. It's like, I don't even know how to explain it. I really don't. I wish I could, but I don't. It honestly, if you haven't seen Radio Flyer, then definitely check it out. And for those of you who have seen Radio Flyer, really, seriously, how amazing is her voice? How amazing is she as a person in this movie? Oh, she's just so sweet. Adam Baldwin, who plays the character, the King, who plays one of those characters in a movie that you just so badly want bad things to happen to him because of what he is and who he is in this movie. The things he does is so heart-wrenchingly, intensely full on that you just want pain to be brought to him. Seriously. And before I go on, guys, I know that most of you who have been following my YouTube channel for any period of time, I love to ask you guys the question. I really do. And it's time to ask that question, guys, in my movie review. Does Radio Flyer have in the core element of its DNA, in its purpose, the thing that requires Hollywood film to be watched and rewatched over and over for many a year to come, over again? And that is what I like to call rewatchability, guys. Rewatchability, in my personal opinion, guys, is Radio Flyer's DNA because of the power of the script, the power of the dialogue, the acting, the cast chemistry. And the cast chemistry is just flawless in this movie. The sense of adventure in this movie is so incredible, inspiring, it's excitable. There is this sense of adventure, which is so fascinating to me, guys, that this film is actually just labeled as a drama. And it is so much more than just a drama. It really is an adventure, guys. It's a powerhouse for those people who are wanting something to be inspired by and a lesson to be learnt, especially what happens at this movie. It's talking about lessons to being learnt, because man, is there a strong moral behind this movie. The bathroom scene where Mary does her makeup and Mikey and Bobby come to her to ask if they can go out to play is so sweet and beautiful scene. It really shows the family dynamic. It really paints the picture of just how much Mary loves her two sons in this movie. It is so incredible, so heartwarming, so heartfelt. She just wants to see her two beautiful sons' faces one more time, and it really pulls on those heartstrings of love. There are sequences of this movie where the adventure and the humor are so well crafted together that you cannot stop laughing because of how the reality of what they're dealing with and what they're experiencing together as brothers. It is phenomenal to see how Richard Donner just paints this incredible visual picture of two brothers journeying together on this incredible, phenomenal just journey, adventure, just discovering phenomenal things. And speaking of discovering phenomenal things, there's so much in the script of Tom Hanks's narration in this movie, where he just really paints the picture of what they're discovering and what they're experiencing as brothers together. It's so beautiful. This is a perfect example of what film looks like, making looks like, when you don't have to physically show a person physically getting harmed. The filmmaker and the editing, the pain is real, the action is real, but physically seeing it, visually seeing it, you don't, which makes the question of watching the film even deeper to know what's actually going on. And it draws you into the film even more. It is phenomenal to see how Richard Donner has painted this amazing picture of literally a journey with two young men, especially Bobby, and what is happening to him throughout the journey of this film, guys. To see the effects of his stepdad, whatever you want to call him, the king, of what he's going through and what he's dealing with and what he's battling, it's so extreme. Okay, I have a really interesting question, guys. For those of you who have seen Radio Flyer, I really want to ask you this, truly. Do you seriously think that they got a real life buffalo to do that, the window scene? Because I honestly, I mean, I could be wrong. It's probably fake. It's probably just camera trickery and stuff like that. But that buffalo scene was really, really captivating, and it was really authentic. It just looked real. It looked like if it's just movie magic, and I just love to see how they did that scene. I found that incredible. Leave your comments in the comment section below. I'd love to hear back from you to see if you think the buffalo scene was legit. Okay, I'm really genuinely, authentically interested to know if you guys thought that the gas station, right, the gas station attendant was Jordan Vogt-Roberts, who is the director of Kong Skull Island. Because I honestly, it's not him, it's not, but I honestly, seriously, literally, I could not believe how much it looked like him, because it just blew me away. I was like, yeah, no, that has to be Jordan Vogt-Roberts. It's not, but oh my gosh, the similarities, wow. The music in this movie is so ingrained in the visuals that it's almost like you don't even realize that there is music playing. It really is that incredible. Just to see the journey and to see it literally intertwined and completely mashed into the journey of the visuals is really a feat of just filmmaking extraordinaire, honestly, guys. As I said earlier, guys, I know this movie is a drama, but I honestly feel that this movie is also an adventure. I mean, really, the adventure element with Bobby and Mikey is just outstanding. It is captivatingly thrilling and so awe-inspiring to the viewer. The glass bottle scene made me laugh so hard and put the biggest smile on my face. What a good dog. It is just so incredible to see animals like that being so phenomenally charactered in a movie like this, and being so cute and smart and intelligent. Like, honestly, it really is one of those things that I saw in this movie that it's so heartwarming. The way the camera focuses on Elijah Wood's face, with the camera just focusing on his facial expressions and his eyes in this film, it is so incredible, because it literally, especially with Tom Hanks as the narration for it, it's so believable. I mean, it literally is so outstandingly believable, and just draws you into the story and makes that sense of reality of what you're watching in front of you just so incredible. Guys, for anyone who has been following me for any period of time at all, I do not do spoilers in my movie reviews because I don't think that they're fair. I just think that spoilers are one of those things in movie reviews that if you want to see a movie that bad, literally just go and watch it, because then you'll know exactly what happens in the movie. I think when I was a kid, I really think that I got scared at the Bigfoot scene, but now I know it's there. It doesn't scare me. Okay, maybe it still does. But I honestly, guys, that Bigfoot scene, that's seriously, as a watching that as a kid, I think I remember being pretty scared at that. Like, that was pretty full on. One of the things about this movie that I never understood about what the king does to his clothing, his room stuff in his room, it actually never makes sense in the movie. And it's not bad. It's not a bad sequence. In fact, it actually is a powerful sequence to bring the deputy into it. But just rewatching, I guess it's just one of those things out of anger and pain and hatred and stuff like that. But watching that scene and just seeing, I don't know, it was just one of the scenes in the movie that I just was like, what? Why? Like, why? Like, what did you benefit from that? I love the power behind the intimate scene behind Mike, Bobby, and Deputy, played by John Hurd. Right after the clothing on the lawn scene, the intimacy, the power, the intensity, the beauty behind it, it really, really, really shows how unbelievably authentic and real that the deputy really, he understood and wanted to help whatever was going on in their lives and wanted to break the situation down. That mess in the kitchen would have taken hours to clean up. Hours. For those of you who have seen Radio Flyer, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Exactly what I'm talking about. Oh my gosh. Wow. Seriously, that was a mess. Oh my gosh. One of the elements of this movie, guys, that made me really upset is the fact that they show Bobby not wanting to tell anyone about what Bobby's going through, the violence that he's going through. And he tells him, don't tell Mum, Mary. This is the part of the movie, guys, that really, really upset me. Guys, I just want to take this opportunity right now to seriously say, if you haven't seen the Radio Flyer, that element of this movie, it's not on in anyone's life. It's not, no one should ever go through that. If you are going through that or experiencing anything like that in any degree at all, you need to tell someone. You need to tell someone. Seriously, because hiding things like that, being physically or abused to any degree, is not good for anyone ever, no matter what your age is. You need to tell someone. I just wanted to let you know that and had a bit of heart to heart with you right now. I just wanted to get real, because if you've seen the Radio Flyer, you know that is one of the most powerful elements of this movie. And those of you who haven't seen Radio Flyer, when you see it, it's really, the reality of that is just so hard hitting. But yes, it's a movie, but the reality of that situation, never ever hide those sort of things from parental guidance or anyone like that, your parents or somebody, an adult figure in your life, because somebody needs to be told and something needs to be done about it. If someone's hurting you, being silent is the worst thing that you can do. You must always speak up about things like this. You must never be silent about pain. You must always bring to authority to their attention what you're going through, because that's the only way it's going to dealt with. It's incredible to see how the yard scene when they're playing ball is just so incredibly moving. It makes you so angry. It makes you really want for the kids to just be hurt so badly. And specifically the scene leading up to that, it really is one of those scenes where you see Mikey and you just feel for him. Your heart, it's just such a gut-wrenching scene. and you just, man, you literally want justice to come to those kids, because it is so intense and so wrong. The pain that you can see Bobby would have went through without actually seeing anything happen is absolutely on a visual point of view outstanding, because you don't actually see anything happen to him. And it really, just the way that they've crafted the movie like that really is filmmaking genius. I want to ask you a question. The apology scene, do you think he really meant it? Do you think she should have taken him back? Honestly, genuinely, I really want to ask you that question, guys. What did you think about the apology scene? Do you think it was a load of malarkey, a load of hoo-ha? Because it was just, what happens after that? It's like, well, what was that for in the begin with? Okay, guys. Okay, here we go. The movie scene where they're in the movies, I have to confess something to you. Tom Hanks, as the narrator, as the voice of Mikey, actually says to the audience that back in those days, they didn't tell you to leave the cinema. Back in those days, you could sit in a cinema seat for as long as you want. And they actually say in the movie that they saw the same movie 12 times. Now, I'm going to tell you something that not a lot of people know about me. I actually saw, in its first 2 weeks of its theatrical run, the theatrical version, not the extended cut, Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, 12 times in the first 2 weeks of its theatrical release. I saw it 3 times on opening day, and then I literally saw it, it must have been every day, literally every single day it was out in cinema that it was out. Seriously. So I totally, completely, 100% related to that. Yeah, you're welcome. And I still watch that movie to this day, and it blows my mind because it is just a masterpiece of filmmaking. What they do in the Cubby House when I was their age, I was definitely not that creative. I mean, seriously, talk about creative little boys. I know obviously it's just a movie, but still, what they come up with, no way would I have ever be able to do that as a kid. That was incredible. Oh my goodness. The I love you mum scene. Yep. Man tears. Yep. For real. Yep. That 100% brought me to tears. Yep. 100%. Full man tears. 100%. No word of a lie. I was man crying that whole scene. That was incredible. Man, that was such a powerful, moving scene. Oh my gosh. Guys, if you're a passionate dog lover, the scene where they find Shane is absolutely gut-wrenching in every level and every capacity possible. What happens? Blah, 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 blah. Just thinking about it. Seriously, just thinking about it. Oh man, that really is just a slug in the guts of a scene to watch. I had absolutely no clue at all what the connection between Fisher and the baseball card was. That was so confusing to me. I literally, just thinking back on it, I still to this day, I don't get what the relationship was between Fisher, the character Fisher, and the baseball card that he gave Bobby. That made no sense to me at all. That was so, it was just, I don't know. It was just so weird. So for anyone who has been following my channel for any period of time, you guys know that I love to give you trivia. So it is time in my movie review for Radio Flyer to give you trivia for Radio Flyer. First of all, I just want to say seriously, guys, thank you so much for sticking in here this long. I really hope you've appreciated it. And I can't wait. This is my favorite part. Not my favorite part of my movie reviews, but I love doing this part because it's just icing on a cake. And oh my gosh, who doesn't love cake? So guess what time it is, guys? It's trivia time. John Mazzello, the younger brother of Joseph Mazzello, appears as a schoolboy extra, and Hannah Wood, the younger sister of Elijah Wood, appears as a schoolgirl extra. That's so cute and cool. Next piece of trivia is, guys, Adam Baldwin has stated he will never do a role like the King ever again, and I'm glad because it was crap. Next piece of trivia is, guys, when Mike is reading the postcard from Bobby at 105 minutes and 19 seconds, you see that their last name is Wright, as in the Wright brothers. Also, the envelope from the magic spell incorporated at around 54 minutes is addressed to Mike and Bobby Wright. Next piece of trivia is, guys, the film's original ending featured a present-day, code-aware now adult Mike, played by Tom Hanks, takes his children to a National Air and Space Museum, where the radio flyer playing hybrid is displayed next to the Wright brothers' flying machine. Test audiences were confused by this ending, and reshoots led to the modern-day prologue and epilogue scene in the final film. Next piece of trivia is, guys, writer David Mickey Evans has stated that the script was much darker than the final film and the child abuse angle was more prominent. When the film was taken over by Richard Donner, those elements were toned down. He also felt that the studio marketing Radio Flyer as a family film was a factor of the failure at the box office. Next piece of trivia is, guys, the original script called for more fantasy sequences involved Worm Man and zombies. These ideas were scrapped when Richard Donner replaced David Mickey Evans as the director. Next piece of trivia is, guys, the train station in Novato, California, where the boys walked the tracks, was not shown in any detail because it was damaged by a fire in the early 1980s. The restoration did not begin until 1995. Next piece of trivia is, guys, the sacking of original director David Mickey Evans, replacing him with Richard Donner, and later reshoots following test screenings meant that this made this little film's budget from $15 million to $30 million. Next piece of trivia is, guys, the blue houses featured in the film are former Hamilton houses and later sold to the Coast Guard for its housing. Residents of the housing refer to it as Smurf Village. Next piece of trivia is, guys, writer David Mickey Evans later published the novella The King of Pamela based original record-breaking script. The story reintegrated several discarded elements of the final film, including the extended fantasy sequences with the buffalo. It also retained the original ending. Next piece of trivia is, guys, the original script ignited a bidding war in Hollywood and captured major media attention, as writer David Mickey Evans wrote the script while still in film school and eventually needed more than $1.25 million, which included Evans' services as a screenwriter and director. When the studio thought that their investment in the script was too great to gamble on the first-time director, Evans was replaced by Richard Donner, which has sparked even more coverage, as Evan publicly distanced himself from the movie, which went on to be a major box office and critical flop. Next piece of trivia is, guys, the film's writer David Mickey Evans named his publishing company Flying Wagon as an obvious nod to this film. Next piece of trivia is, guys, production was shut down after 10 days because of the studio was dissatisfied with the dailies. That's nuts. Next piece of trivia is, guys, Rosanna Arquette was originally cast as Mary and filmed scenes with the original director. After Richard Donner took over the director, Arquette was rumored to be replaced by Deborah Winger before being replaced with Lorraine Racco. Next piece of trivia is, guys, next and final piece of trivia, guys. Now I'll leave you with this one, and so thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for sticking in with me all this way. You guys are incredible. John Hurd performed the audiobook of Jurassic Park. Joseph Mazzello appeared in the film version. The female lead, Laura Dern had appeared in Rambling Rose. Director Michael Coolidge and her husband, Michael Bakes, were friends with Michael Crichton. She also had a part in the computer version of the film. There you go, guys. I appreciate you being here so much. Thank you so much for sticking in with this movie review. I appreciate it. I hope this encourages you to go and see Radio Flyer 1982. I appreciate your time so much. Thanks for sticking in here. You guys are amazing. Until my next movie review, don't forget, guys, who's bringing this movie review for Radio Flyer 1992. This is Superman Steve, guys, flying out.